Hey, First Baptist Church. Today I'm with one of our wonderful staff members, Bob Gerner. And today, right now, Bob is celebrating 5 years of working at First Baptist Church. And rather than just acknowledging it with the blurb in our newsletter, I wanted you all to get to know Bob a little bit, because you often will see Bob working on Sunday mornings, filling up coffee pots way back when we did that, or opening things up. And Bob is just a pleasure to have here at our church, but maybe you don't know all these things about Bob. So Bob, thank you for the work you do at our church.
You're very welcome. Glad to be here.
So tell us a little bit, Bob, about how you arrived in Gainesville, because you're not originally from here.
No. In fact, I never expected to be living in Florida, to be perfectly honest. Although my in-laws live here. I was born and raised in South Jersey back in the era when it was still the Garden State. A lot of farms. Today it's a lot different than that. As soon as I finished high school, I migrated to New England, and my first experience at higher education was culinary arts. I graduated from the Culinary Institute of America, okay. That was where it started. It's now out in New York State, Hyde Park. But so I was there for 2 years, graduated advanced chef's training, and then decided that I really wanted to go into management. So I enrolled at Stockbridge School of Agriculture at the University of Massachusetts. They had a hotel and restaurant program, and I attended that and graduated from there. By then I had married, had a child on the way, needed to get a job. All right, so I was able to find one in the finance company, did a training program there, and as soon as I finished that in Western Mass, I joined a commercial bank, and within 10 years I was a vice president of commercial loans. That was a rapid ascent, but I had my own office, and before I left, I had a total of 3 offices and did branch administration and commercial lending, installment lending. I also handled all the municipal accounts for the bank. So I was doing well. In the meantime, not to bore you, I had 1 son, and I also got divorced. I had custody of my son, and so a couple years went by, and we lived in a small community in the hill country. Then after a couple years, I met Janet, who is now my wife. In fact, she was the executive assistant to my boss. So I snagged her. And then she moved out there. She also had 1 son. So in a matter of a few weeks, I had doubled the size of my family from 2 to 4. I had quit my job, and I had bought a general store. I think Janet was a little bit nervous.
Yeah.
Right? But it worked out for the best. The general store, we lived on a hillside, Beckett, and our home overlooked the valley, and right at the base of our hill there was a general store. And so I looked at it. I wanted to buy it. That's what I really said I wanted to do. And would you believe I did it for 25 years.
Wow. And I was reading one of the articles you gave me, and you were pretty much, for 25 years, you were, for the most part, up by 4:30, there all day till 9 or 9:30, and just serving all of those folks in that community, especially a lot, and I imagine there's probably a lot of tourists in that area as well.
Yeah, Beckett has a population of, 1,300. I think now it's up to 1,600 year-round. But there are some 13 to 20 housing developments, but you don't see it when you go through the community. They're all off the road in the forest and everything. So there's a lot of homes there, a lot of summer homes, second home people from North Jersey, New York, and Connecticut. And they will spend a good bit of time in summer. They will also spend some time there in the wintertime, and from the location where we are in Beckett, they would then travel north and do their skiing in Vermont and New Hampshire. So our busy time of the year was summer. Now let me classify what summer means to us there. It's July and August.
Yeah.
Okay?
It's not April to September?
No. We've seen snow on Memorial Day, and sometimes Halloween can be bitter weather.
Yeah.
So, and then that's when schools open, but summer people, this is when they went back to their own residences, all right? The kids went to school or whatever, and so we had to do business in 2 months. The rest of the year, we just kind of sustained, okay?
Yeah.
But I'll tell you a little bit about what we did there at the store.
Yeah.
Okay. When we bought the store, it had 2 gas pumps. It had a package store. We had a year-round beer and wine license and seasonal alcoholic, which meant that come November 1st, I had to remove all the hard liquor, and I couldn't put it back on the shelf until April 1. I missed Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's. All right, that was kind of painful.
Yeah.
But we did it, and in 2 years, for 2 years, we fought for a bill in the state legislature to give us a year-round alcoholic license. They, believe it or not, they agreed to do so, and so then we could operate that fully. The main part of the store, we had a lunch and coffee counter. We sold, the reason I got up at 4:30, I had to go most mornings into Pittsfield to get the daily papers. I could get Sunday papers delivered, but I had to get the daily papers picked up, and also I worked out a deal with a bakery where I picked up fresh donuts every other day. So we had all those things in the coffee counter. We also did dry goods, paper goods, canned goods. We added a freezer. We sold some plumbing supplies. I sold hunting and fishing licenses, and after a few years I bought a scale so that we could then have a weighing station here also, all of which was to generate, business locally. What else did we do? I added Western Union, bill payment service. We sold money orders. I got a lathe for keys. This is before they came out with those fancy key makers. All right, so I actually had a lathe that I would duplicate keys for people.
Pretty much anything that they needed.
Yeah, in fact, we had a sign on the wall. If we don't have it, you don't need it. And it was great. We served the whole community. We took care of people. Actually, that community and another adjacent community, there was no store there. And the people responded very well.
Yeah.
It was long. It was arduous. We took very few vacations. And other than taking a day off in the summertime, we didn't take much other days off. But my wife supported me. First, she went to college and then got her master's degree. And then she worked full time. And she always supported my efforts there at the store. We had some wonderful relationships.
And then so family kind of brought you to Gainesville, is that right? Her family?
Actually, Janet got us here.
Okay.
In the early 2000s, I reached a point in my life where I decided I would follow Janet wherever she went. Okay? And she had some marvelous opportunities in the healthcare field. And we ended up, we went to Arkansas. Oh, a quick little story if I got a couple minutes. I was working at a hospital in Pittsfield in customer relations, and Janet was also at the same hospital. And I get a call from her one day and she said, "How would you like to move to Arkansas?" Well, let me tell you, there was dead silence on my end of the phone, all right? Because I finally said to her, I never heard of anybody moving to Arkansas. And sure enough, she got the job, and because there was a hospital that did not have a quality management department, and they asked her to start it up, and which she did. And so she went out there. She left me alone in Massachusetts. I had the store and the house to sell. Finally, it took about a year, but then I joined her out there. I talked to her every day on the phone. Yeah. But we got out there. And then from there, we went to I can't remember the community, but just outside of Raleigh, North Carolina, and to a hospital there she worked. And then she moved to Tallahassee. And we spent, I think, a couple years in Tallahassee, and then she applied at Shands, and she was accepted. And so we've been here for I don't know, 8, 10 years, something like that. And that's how we got to Southern Florida. Yeah, Janet's parents lived and passed away down in Apopka.
Okay.
Yeah, it's we enjoyed the warm weather, and I do not miss shoveling snow. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
And when we lived up there, we heated for the most part with wood.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of work.
That's a lot of work. Yeah.
But I've worked a couple places here. When I was in Tallahassee, I worked. I got a job with CVS. I did photo work, and I transferred to the store on Archer Road, and continued to do the same thing along with retail sales. And then I decided that that was a lot of bending and things. I had to stock the shelves and all that kind of stuff. So there used to be a little store over in Millhopper called Kitchen and Spice, and I don't know if anybody's familiar with that. I thought it was a marvelous place. I thought I was there for life. I had so much fun. They just had kitchen gadgets, and that's where I learned to sharpen knives and scissors. And I also did demonstrations on the Big Green Egg ceramic barbecue.
Yeah. And you're still doing sharpening knives and scissors and those kind of things. So if anybody ever has some that you need sharpened, Bob would love to be able to help you out.
Yeah, I do it right out of my home, and you come and call me, and we'll work out an exchange, and then I'll do them, and you pick them up, nominal fee.
That's great. And Bob, around here, you're here part-time, but you're helping Mike out in our facility. On Sundays, you're helping us to sanitize everything. We have a whole system to sanitize the sanctuary because of COVID. But what I love about it is that you always have this incredible, wonderful spirit about you that you bring into our congregation and just into the facility. And whether we are seeing you briefly, on Sunday mornings now, or whether we get, hopefully soon we can spend more time with one another, you always have this way of just brightening everyone's day. And I'm grateful for you and for what you do in our church. So thank you.
The brightness part comes from the reflection off the top of the head. All right.
Well, I see.
But I grew up being respectful for people and learning to help people. And throughout my career, particularly at the store, we helped people in a community. And it was never made it to where I was rich, but it was one of the most personally rewarding things I've ever done.
Yeah. Well, you shared one book with me, Massachusetts Off the Beaten Path, that has a whole paragraph here on the Beckett General Store that you did. But I want to just, from our personnel committee, I wanted just to give you a gift. So one is a gift card to Publix you can buy more groceries that you can be a chef for Janet, or however it was, and then just a little plaque for you. So thank you so much for what you do for our church. We are grateful for your presence, and we are a better church because of you. So thank you.
Eric, thank you very much, and it's a pleasure to be here and work with other people in the church.
Well, y'all, I hope that you've learned a few things about Bob. We haven't even gone through all the stuff about him being it just dropped out of my head. We just talking about the Shaker Village, a blacksmith, and so there's a whole other. There's more stories for Bob whenever you had a chance to spend some time with him, and so I hope that you'll spend some time doing that. So thank you all.
Just add one more thing.
Yes, of course.
Okay, when I was in Beckett, I had what I considered to be a tremendous personal growth experience. In New England, you have a form of government with 3 selectmen, and then once a year you have an annual town meeting. And a town moderator officiates at that meeting. And I decided I'd jump in wholeheartedly and run for that office. I got there, stayed there 12 years doing that, and it was a real challenge, but I thoroughly enjoyed the opportunity to serve that.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. So
Thank you.
If you have any connection to Massachusetts or New England, I know you would find some ways to have more conversation with Bob, or if you want to just learn more, please have a chance to do so. So thank you, Bob.
Thank you.